Social media, okay. For business? Alrighty. I was hoping I was on the right page or the right screen, looking at some things. So, what we're going to do in making sure is that all of you create a Padlet page. And I'm going to go over that again because this is going to be a mechanism, tool that we're going to use so that you can put your own information on and you can share with me. I will share with you and use this. It is a digital bulletin board for those that weren't here last week. It's not www, it's just padlet.com. You go out there, you register, it's free, and then you're going to create a page for yourself, first of all, more importantly for you, and then if you have some things out there for me, I mean, you can share with me. And I'm going to use one example here. Last week, and she's not here to defend herself, so I can really, well, anyway, Celeste is gone tonight, but here's what she did after class. She created this Padlet page, and I didn't get permission to share that with you, but oh well, right? Okay. You can see the background she put on there. So it's a bulletin board, and she put my Facebook business, my Pinterest, playing to learn. I haven't looked at any of these. Now what I'm going to do on here, I'm going to capture this URL, and I'm going to put it in a spreadsheet for my use. So I can go out there and periodically see what you're doing. It's not a test. It's your projects, and there might be times that you say, I want to post on Padlet, can message me or something and take a look at it when we're working on these things. I have to remind myself and you is that after tonight we got 6 sessions left. Can you believe that? I mean, that's not much time to play. Well, enough time to play, but so not a lot of time. So I want all of you to, by the end of the time tonight, I want you to have created a Padlet page and then put it on my Facebook or on my Padlet page here. And here's what Celeste did. Just labeled it, put your name on there, your last name, first name, whatever it is, and then I'll capture that. So just like we did last week, you went out there and you just went on Padlet. So as soon as you do that, it'll be interactive out there for that. And again, it's a bulletin board. Remember that a bulletin board is to do what? You go around, you can just tag somebody. How many have bulletin boards at home? Anybody? Or when you were growing up, or parents had some? You put notes on there, right? I mean, also when you're creating your Padlet page, if you want it secure, remember you can put a password. You can make it available, even though the link is there. Someone to get into it or to look at it would have to have their password or your password that you have created. So there's sometimes a lot of questions out there. What do I put on there? Is that if someone else can they see it and so forth. So those are all things too as we look at security, and it's a big topic today of information out there for people, and I want to keep you mindful of that, and or that I'm sensitive to your needs and wishes as well with that. Gotcha, thank you. Some of those things like that too, and that's why I say part of this thing is that in the social media and in the research and everything that we do, I think it's worthy of sharing with all, because sometimes why does something not work or what happens? So you got to be creative, innovative, and saying, well, I don't want to beat the system, but I want to make it so it's available. And at the same time, people are protecting their own interests with it too. I love to research, love to find information. That's the website you go, and then my site is Ken_Quamme, and I say the site for this class, BOTE 135. And as I mentioned, I'm turning around creating a Padlet page for anything. So if I have students in a class doing something, oh yeah, let's drop it in here right away. And again, you know that there's Google Drive, Dropbox, and other ones like that you could drop things in. This one you don't have to. In my case, it's like no password. Just click on it, and not logging in. Don't have to have the app for it or anything like that. Just use your browser. All right, you continue working on that. I got a couple things here on the screen. I've got a little activity here. I'll come into a little bit later. I placed out here. What I'm trying to do is put the dates on these things, so that when you look at them, you can see what happened on the 19th, the 26th, the November 2nd, etc. with that. So you say, oh, what do you say about that? I'll try to keep you informed that way. Then I put the final project template, and I put a draft on here, just because when I was putting on it, it was a little breezy outside, so I said draft. Be here all week, okay. Anyway, draft meaning that subject to your input and or possibly change modification for that. As I feel a lot of times, I'm the coach in the classroom, and I can't do the work for you, or I could do the work for you, but it wouldn't be fair. So a part of it is you're going to play the game of creating these things and doing your best job that you can with the tools that you have. Does that make sense? For those that are involved in or have been involved in, and I'll say not just sports, because you can be a speech coach, you can be a drama coach, et cetera, right? So you give the tools to the people and let them play the game, and that's what I want from you. So this final project we'll go over a little bit. You'll have a chance to look at it. Both these documents are in Word format. And I would rather not, if I can, and I'll try not to. There might be a time I give you a handout, but most of the time, people, I'm going to do it digitally because it's easier to keep track of. If you look at my office, you can see why. I have a great piling system. Not filing, but piling, so yeah, okay. One thing that I ran across, and a lot of times out there when we look at relevancy and the newness of something, social media has been around a long time. Would you agree? Prior to Facebook, what were people using? What's that? MySpace. Who was MySpace designed for? What industry? Music industry. The music industry. And it turned over to a social network, but that's what it was, the music industry. And then Facebook came about, you know, with that. And I find in here a lot of people, friends and so forth, said, oh yeah, I'm going to quit Facebook. You know, there's so much out there, blah, 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 and so forth. Okay? And, you know, because I think sometimes, do any of you feel you're consumed by Facebook anytime? Things. Well, anyway, in my perusing and doing some research, I put this out there, and you can click on it on my page, and you click on the original. But I found this. It says, the world's 21 most social media sites and apps in 2015. Now, granted, you can look at my screen here. And I can't control your screen on your computer, but you know, the neat thing about this website that I have here with the Padlet is I put it right out here. So if you're out there researching and say, boy, I think I'd like to share this as a class, you could do it on your page, but in addition, you could do it on my page so the rest of the students will see it. And I value when you research something and find something neat that, oh, not because someone hasn't heard, but that might be inspiring to someone out there, and you never know. So I'm going to go to this page here, the 21 most in 2015. I thought that's relevant. We're not in 2016. Because there's a lot of things when I've researched, it says 2010, 2012. There's a lot of water that's gone under the bridge since that time, right? And new things out there. So if you take a look at here, this site that I found, Twitter. And again, I'm just going to, some of the highlights of this thing, and we talked about that a little bit last week. How many have a Twitter account in here? Quite a few of you have a Twitter account. And you do a lot of following? Anybody follow you? I have an account, but I really don't put a lot of things out there. I look at a lot of things. For example, I follow the Tetons on Twitter. I follow the UND hockey. I follow the Bison football, not just the Bison football, but all their sports thing out there. I was a coach for 9 years. It's kind of interesting for me to see, and I can quickly get on there. You do, 140 characters on Twitter? So it's easy, fast to do with that. Again, more on that as time goes on in the next weeks here with using that. Facebook, of course, we talked about. LinkedIn. How many have a LinkedIn account? Anybody? Couple people. This is only for business people. Don't anybody else? I'm just kidding. We're going to look at that. I didn't think for a long time it was used out there in social media for business, but it is. And so we're going to explore this, not tonight, but probably next week, about the different ways that LinkedIn, not forcing any of you to create any accounts, because as soon as you create them, you can get off of them, right? So as a class activity, you can say, yeah, I'll subscribe to that. I'll use Padlet because Ken wants me to, and then I'll go away from it. That's all right. It's all right to be and to take those things like that. But you want to explore some of those. Xing. A global presence focused on LinkedIn lack. So again, probably if you didn't have LinkedIn, you probably wouldn't see that one. Renren. I like that one, Renren. China's largest social platform. So we talk about Facebook, and Facebook is global, is it not? And so now you take a look at different countries out there, and you take a look at our presence in all these countries and some of the international travel that we do with even student groups. So, and again, when you go to this site, a lot of times what you'll do is click on these links to take a look at them. So that's what I want you to do, is explore them, not to create accounts for them, but explore them to see what they have available. Google Plus. People use Google Plus? Google has really done some things, haven't they? They have done some things out there in a lot of different platforms for people. And so it is a great way to look at that, and it says a big up and comer has really arrived for the past few years. So it is moving on, and so like a lot of things, some people will like and some people will not. Some of it's that we don't, not that we don't like it, because we can all have biases, right? But kind of shy away from biases until we try something. Someone might influence us. You might get away from that. So, but we'll take a look at that. Another one here, discuss. So it's not a social media. LinkedIn Plus. Snapchat. How many have a Snapchat account? A few people have Snapchat. Works pretty well, doesn't it? Does it work well? You never pay attention. We'll look at that. I wait for the Snapchat on my phone, on my tablet, and have a picture. We talked about Pinterest last week, right? Pinterest account? How many have a Pinterest account? A few of you. And again, my thought, I think I shared with you, thought this is for cooking and this is for hobbies, but all the other things out there will see that value, and if that's a part of what you feel for the business plan. YouTube. How many have a YouTube account? Anybody ever create a YouTube channel? Not yet? Not yet. Businesses are moving that direction, aren't they? They're moving in that direction. I had someone made a comment today in my networking class that they said, yeah, there was a topic that I wasn't understanding, I went out to YouTube. So sometimes a lack of understanding, gaining that, but watching and how many people have created YouTube videos to help others. Instagram. Anybody have an Instagram account? A few of you on that thing. What do you use Instagram for? What's that?
Pictures of my kids.
Pictures of your children. Exactly. A lot of times out there for pictures, right? And so, again, we start with this as a, I'm going to say a toy, and that's what a lot of it starts as. It becomes a tool because that's in business, they want it as a tool, not just something fun. VK.com, Europe's largest social media. So we're seeing here now in these 21, a lot of different countries having their own social media or different groups like that. And so that can be modified for a lot of different things out there, that you can have your own group for a lot of different things. And that's what in business, how we're going to do that. The clientele, the people that I want to attract in, they become my group. Like I said, a group in Facebook of, I'll call them the Q Cousins. I think that's what the group is called. You know, alike interest and sharing and so forth out there. So just this afternoon, Josh and I were talking about restoring, right, old vehicles, modifying them and so forth. You have a common group out there of people that have interests, the woodworkers, the photography club, etc. Another social way, meeting up. And you find out, it's interesting, in the growth of our region, and I'm going to say the Williston Basin, western North Dakota, is that how many new people, how many are new to this area, whether it be school and or in the community itself, okay? Some of these things out there you find and you get to connect with people with interest, because a lot of times people say, there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do. And finding that group out there with it, whether, like I say, being a drone users or car club, as I mentioned, photography, woodworking, on and on and on. There's a lot of things out there. Fly fisher people. So just a few of them here, 21, that this was actually a list that was modified since 2012 by this author, and I thought this was more appropriate than the one that was in 2012 for the things that we're going to use. So anyway, explore these items. If you want to put this link on your page, you can do that. Click on that. Again, all of you know how to do that. When it's highlighted in the URL, you go to your social media. Well, I'm going to click on Celeste's social media here, and I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to put on here to see if she notices it. I'll mess up her page. I'm doing a Control V, submitting that in here, saying OK, and I'm going to go back in here now from last week. Did anybody set up a Remind app yet? Let me just talk about that, and I want you to explore that. And I think I told you I have a philosophy from Toys to Tools. Sometimes setting that up just with a small group of people. Remind is where you can set up with just businesses, friends. There's others out there that are free. This is for texting, that you can get on an app and you can text. It does not have your number on it. It's sent from the system. So again, like we talked to some of the social media out there that we have with setting up groups, you can actually text them. I asked a group of students here this fall, what's your best way of contacting you, email or texting? And almost, I'll say 90-some% said texting. Would you agree with that statement? Most of you? It seems like, I mean, people have their phone, tablet, or phone I should say, there for their texting, or even if they have a tablet, my wife has it set up on hers where she gets that reminder of a text or even a phone call with it. So anyway, Remind, explore that and set up it's a free account, and then invite people to with the code that you're given. And I don't care if it's just 3 or 4 people, okay? So just invite them, and then we'll talk about what you did, and we'll do the same thing for this class. The activity that we have down here, that I say up here, explore Facebook business. Down here, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram activity. I would like for you to do this for next week, this activity here. And if I pull it up, just to show you, I'll open in Word. And I don't have a problem you working together on this, because sometimes if it's first time working on these things, your question a lot of times is, what does he want from us? You ever ask that question of a teacher? What do they want? Find your favorite Facebook business page, review the posts and so forth, and answer these questions. And so here's 2 examples. I want you to do this to 2 businesses, okay? And just answer those questions the best you can. Now put that on your Padlet page when you get done. Okay, in addition here, do the same thing with Twitter, and I have that on that list. Go into your Twitter account and find 2 tweets from a business. So I said I follow the Teton, that's not a business, but look at and search out for a business and answer those questions on there. And then the last one is the same thing for Instagram with this. To do the same thing on Instagram. So it's just basically 2 things, and if you do more, you can add those to your list. Okay, so Twitter, and then Instagram, which I don't have on this one, so that's all under that one. Set up a LinkedIn account here. It's pretty basic, easy. Right now, and again, as we look at this, I want you to be able to set these up before I go into them. Now, Matt, you've already done this. I've got one on there. I'll bring mine up. I'll bring some other ones up on there. And a lot of the different people, when you search out, for that in the business world, and how we potentially could use this. Pinterest, this is one that next week, I'll bring mine up, and I'm going to show you some things that I've used with that in the non-business side of things, other than probably some of the most common ones out there. Oh, here it is, the app. This one here, create an app using app. Did anybody get this one done or try it? The app. And again, using your phone, So having that we're going to find a variety that you're going to create and then see if that would be something for the business. So here you can find out about hashtags because a lot of people don't know the value of hashtags or what they're used for. And again, I mentioned last week with, I'll say the campaigning for elections, and you want to follow some of the things, or probably it was the hurricane or something out there, or a lot of the fun stuff out there as well. Web-based virtual tour. And so when I've been doing some looking into this one here, and it's free, that I'm seeing realtors using this for that, but also I think that possibly store owners could use something like this as well if you're making a tour. Okay, I've got one more thing here for you, is that in the final project that we have here, and I'm going to ask you to look it over for next week, to look it over to see the content of it, because as it says on their draft, if we need to change anything. Again, I said this course is about you, for you, with businesses. You're going to adopt a business. Now, we have on the roster 21 people. Do you want to do this final project as an individual or as a team? Team? How many want to do it individual? I will accept both for that, for as a team and or individual. And the reason I'm saying that is because sometimes right now in our lives it's difficult to get together all the time to do these things. And yes, there are a lot of collaborative tools such as Skype, GoToMeeting, etc., but sometimes it's just difficult to coordinate that with how many weeks left, 6 weeks left to do that. So I'm going to open it up to say that we can do, you can do this. And what I'd like to have you do is that you're going to adopt a business and or a business that you know, with it, and help them with a plan for social media. So you can start thinking about who you might want on your team, and how many you want on a team, 2 or 3? 3 at the max, right? Collaboration is good, and you don't have to make that decision today. Next week, I'd like to have your individual team members for me, okay? If you know those, you can put them out of my Padlet page. Got it? My Padlet page, okay, who your team. One thing also, it might be interesting, is that if you have a name for your team or individual, whatever it is. You'll have your business out there, right? But sometimes when you do projects, it's good to have a name for them. So when you think of creative, you might want to think of a logo, because this could be entrepreneurial for some of you, that you might figure out how to consult with businesses to implement social media. Then I say that. If we think entrepreneurial about things, I think it's easier to engage. And with the plan or the project, I have on the list there, and I say draft, I have on there, when you look at it, 4 to 8 social media tools. So you're going to be thinking of that and answering questions. So you're going to do a SWOT analysis. We're going to do some comparison as to why we might. So we're going to carry on some discussion. All right, then I have one more task that I told you last week that I was going to try to. I did look up. I tried asking some questions. But I would like to make this friendly competition. Okay? Friendly competition, not by your peers, but the global society, the global world, that I would like to find, and if you could help me come up with a way not to evaluate, but to find out what the public, the people, perceive as the best out there. Now, they're not going to compare yours, but it could be the most likes on a business page. And once you do this activity that I have on Word here, so does anybody have any ideas tonight as to, Matt?
On Facebook, when you have a business page or
Okay. Could I ask for you as an assignment, and you can do this as a get together as your group or individual, and again, the best way that I find, instead of putting it on my page, put it on your page. But could you come up with some criteria? You know, you said Twitter, you said Facebook. Look at the other ones, Instagram. So as you explore some of these, I won't have anything concrete yet, but I want to put that in our guideline, our thing for I'll say friendly competition, so that when this hits the media on the final night, because the media will be invited in, by the way, not to hear your presentation. You'll be in a team. You'll have your crutch as your thing here and your paper, right? I would just like to promote that for you people, because that's positive. And when I say that, then the media says, gosh, I'm going to find out who those students were and see if they would help my business. So I'm going to look for a job for you. But I say that meaning that that is some avenue. So we want to do that, and then I will take your ideas and my ideas and put those together for that criteria. Okay. So think of those. If you have to do any research on that, find ideas like you're saying here with Twitter, with Facebook, and how it reaches those people. If you haven't used Instagram for that, look at that and how that might be an avenue. So you look at business, look at Snapchat, any of those on those 21 that we said. If you would do that, and I'm going to summarize here, and I'm going to place the summary out on Padlet a little bit later tonight. I want you to do this activity, either individually or as a group. And if you do it as a group, put your names on it. I would like to have you each put on your Padlet page, okay? Set up a Remind app, and I'll update this for you. If you did not have a LinkedIn account, set one up, okay? So we're reviewing from last week. And then set up a Yap, and I'm going to set up, and a lot of these things too, I'm going to do the same thing for you. So instead of me just talking here, I have a Yap account, and I have different apps out there, and then I will create one for this class as well. And then, in addition, Vitality, if that's how we pronounce it, you can log in and you can create your own. And if you're creating an account, you can use Williston State. That's all I have for tonight, people. So you have enough work there to do, and if you're finding some